You got the raise you always wanted, but somehow your bank account still looks empty. That feeling is real, and there is actually a name for what is happening here. It is called lifestyle creep, and it is quietly draining people at every income level. Most people never even hear the term lifestyle creep until it has already hit them. My name is Ryan, and I spend way too much time thinking about personal finance. If you earn decent money but somehow still feel broke every single month, keep watching. Go ahead and subscribe and give this a thumbs up if this is helping you. Here's the thing, earning more money does not automatically mean that you keep more. In fact, for a lot of people, earning more just means spending a lot more. That gap between earning more and saving more is where things start to fall apart. Now you might be thinking, okay, but I deserve to enjoy the money I earn. And you are absolutely right. You do deserve that. And I am not arguing otherwise. But here is what most people do not realize about upgrading their lifestyle over time. Every small upgrade you make tends to permanently raise the floor of what you expect. The coffee shop latte, the newer car, the slightly nicer apartment, they all add up. None of those things feel like big decisions in the moment you are making them. But over time, they quietly reset your baseline until normal starts to cost a fortune. Think about where you were financially 5 years ago, what your normal looked like then. Back then, you likely had lower expenses, fewer subscriptions, and a significantly smaller living space. And somehow, even with less, you survived just fine, maybe even enjoyed life a lot. That fact tells you something important about spending and its real connection to actual happiness. But we will get to that part in a moment, because first, the numbers matter. Research shows more money stops improving your daily happiness after a surprisingly modest income level. That key number, according to researchers, is approximately $75,000 every single year. The reason this happens is actually simple. Your brain is wired to normalize whatever standard of living you are currently at, no matter the cost. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation. The new car smell fades, the bigger apartment feels completely normal, and soon the excitement from your raise just disappears. Once the excitement fades, you are left with a higher overall cost of living and the exact same feeling of never quite having enough money. That is lifestyle creep in its simplest form. You earn more, you spend more, and your brain simply never registers any actual improvement at all. Let me give you a real example with actual numbers so this stops feeling abstract and starts hitting closer to your own situation right now. Say you were earning $35,000 per year just a few years ago with rent around $800 monthly, an older car, and pretty lean overall expenses. Your monthly take-home on $35,000 was roughly $2,600 after taxes. It was tight, but you made it work and still managed to save a little. Now fast forward to today. You are earning $75,000 per year. Your take-home is around $4,800 monthly. And this should absolutely feel like a major upgrade. But here is where the problem starts. Your rent jumped to $1,400, you leased a newer car, and several new monthly subscriptions crept quietly in. Each upgrade felt justified on its own, but when added together, your monthly expenses quietly jumped by well over $2,000 compared to before. You are earning $2,200 more per month, but spending nearly $2,100 more. The net improvement to your actual financial position is essentially nothing at all. That is exactly why $75,000 feels like $35,000. Not because the math is wrong, but because your spending grew in perfect lockstep with your income. Honestly, this is one of the sneakiest traps in personal finance because you never made a single, obviously reckless financial decision to end up here. You made completely reasonable individual decisions at every single step, but together, they all quietly added up to something that reversed your entire financial progress. This is what makes lifestyle creep so genuinely dangerous. It spreads across dozens of small upgrades, and each one seems completely justified on its own. Unlike one reckless splurge, there is no single moment where you can look back and clearly say that was the wrong financial move to make. That is the psychological hook. When you cannot point to the mistake, you cannot fix it. And most people keep living inside the problem forever. Now you might be thinking this is just a high earner problem. It is not. Studies show that lifestyle creep affects people at every income level. A Federal Reserve report found that nearly 40% of Americans could not cover a $400 emergency expense, and many of them were middle-income earners. Think about that for a second. Nearly half the country, including six-figure earners, is living paycheck to paycheck with no real safety net beneath them. This is exactly what lifestyle creep does at scale. It expands to fill whatever financial breathing room your next raise or bonus creates for it. The more you earn, the more space lifestyle creep has to fill. Without a system, new income will quietly disappear before you ever notice it. Look, I am not telling you to live like a monk or stop enjoying nice things. Enjoying your money is still part of the plan. The real difference is between intentional spending and unconscious drift. One is living your life. The other is letting lifestyle creep design it for you. Here is what most people never figure out. Wealth was never about what you earned, but always about how intentionally you spent and saved it. Think about the last time you got a raise or bonus and ask yourself this: do you actually know exactly where that extra money went? Most people genuinely cannot answer that question with real certainty, and that inability to track where money actually goes is exactly how lifestyle creep wins. The fix does not start with a budget spreadsheet or an app. It starts with one honest and uncomfortable moment of real financial self-awareness first. You need to sit down and look at exactly what you are spending now versus what your monthly expenses were 2 or 3 years ago. That comparison will show you something uncomfortable. The gap between your spending then and now is almost always bigger than you expected it to be. Seeing that gap clearly is not about guilt. It is actually the first and most important step toward taking back real control of your finances. The first real strategy for fighting lifestyle creep is paying yourself first, and it is one of the most powerful money habits you can build. Every time you get paid, automatically move a set percentage into savings before you spend a single dollar on anything else, no matter how small. Automating your savings before spending removes the temptation entirely. Lifestyle creep simply cannot touch money that has already been swept out of your main account. A good starting point is saving at least 20% of each paycheck. If that feels too aggressive, start smaller and increase it over time. The raise rule is simple. Every time you earn more money, you immediately commit to automatically saving at least half of that new extra income. The other half is yours to enjoy guilt-free. This rule lets your lifestyle improve, but keeps your financial position improving at the exact same rate. This is the balance that most financial advice completely misses. You do not have to choose between enjoying your life and building real long-term wealth. Let us talk about subscriptions, because this is exactly where lifestyle creep quietly hides and compounds in a way most people never notice at all. The average person today pays for between 8 and 12 subscriptions. Most people, when asked, can only recall 3 or 4 of them by name. That means you are quietly paying for services every single month that you have either forgotten about or genuinely stopped using a long time ago. Here is a quick challenge for you. Pull up your last bank statement right now and circle every subscription you see on there. Go ahead. Most people who actually do this exercise will discover at least one forgotten subscription quietly costing them between $30 and $50 every single month. $50 monthly equals $600 yearly. That is real money that could be sitting in your savings instead of silently disappearing every month. Now let us zoom out from subscriptions and talk about the bigger and more emotionally loaded version of lifestyle creep, the housing and car upgrades. These two categories alone account for the majority of lifestyle creep at every income level, and they are also the hardest decisions to undo later. Here is what the data says about housing. Most financial advisors recommend keeping your total housing costs below 30% of your gross monthly income. In most major cities right now, people are routinely spending 40 to 50% of their total income on housing and treating this as normal. When your housing alone consumes half your income, you have almost no room left for saving, investing, or handling any unexpected financial emergency at all. The average monthly car payment in America has crossed $500. Most people accept this as completely normal, but it is a financial trap. A $500 car payment is $6,000 per year. Over 5 years, that equals $30,000 quietly drained from your financial future. That $30,000, if invested instead, could grow into over $100,000 at average market returns within the next 15 to 20 years. The hidden cost of lifestyle creep is something most people never calculate. Every dollar you overspend today costs you several times more in your future. Now you might be thinking you still want a nice life. Absolutely fair. The goal is never deprivation. It is full intentionality and financial self-awareness. The difference between intentional spending and lifestyle creep is simply whether you made a conscious choice or whether the expense just gradually happened to you. Intentional upgrades feel rewarding and truly sustainable, but unconscious lifestyle drift quietly builds financial stress and that persistent feeling that money is never quite enough. There is a third strategy almost nobody discusses, and it is one of the most effective tools for reversing lifestyle creep once you recognize it. It is called a spending audit, and it is simple. Every quarter, go through your bank statement and ask, is this expense still worth keeping? If it no longer adds real value, cut it. Most people are genuinely surprised by how many of their expenses fail this one simple test. The spending audit is powerful because it turns you from a passive spender into someone who actively controls every financial decision inside their own life. This is the psychological core of the entire problem. We overspend because we constantly compare ourselves to the people around us without ever realizing it. Psychologists call this social comparison theory. When your neighbor gets a new car, your current car suddenly starts feeling much older and far less impressive. Nothing about your actual car changed at all. Your satisfaction dropped because your reference point shifted. That is social comparison quietly shaping your financial behavior. Social media has made this significantly worse. You are now comparing yourself not just to neighbors, but to a curated, filtered highlight reel of millions. Every vacation post, car reveal, and kitchen renovation you scroll past quietly raises your baseline and makes your own real life feel inadequate by comparison. But those posts never show you the debt behind the vacation, the monthly payment behind the car, or the credit line funding the kitchen renovation. You are comparing your private financial reality to someone else's public highlight reel. That comparison alone is quietly costing you real money every single day. The antidote is what researchers call lifestyle anchoring, staying deliberately connected to your own values and goals, not to what everyone around you is doing. Practically, this means having a written financial vision, a clear picture of exactly where you are headed and why that destination genuinely matters to you. When you know exactly why your money is going where it goes, spontaneous upgrades lose their pull. Your actual financial goals become far more compelling. Let me give you a concrete example of what this actually looks like with a real scenario and specific numbers you can immediately relate to. Say you earn $75,000 but save only $200 monthly. Applying these strategies, you could realistically free up $500 or more extra dollars to save. $500 monthly compounds to $6,000 annually. At average market returns, that one habit alone quietly builds to well over $100,000. None of this requires earning more, working harder, or depriving yourself. It simply requires spending with intention instead of letting lifestyle creep run your life. Wealth is not about income. It is about the gap between what you earn and what you keep. And that gap is within your control. You now have the tools, the math, and the mindset. Your financial future is decided not by your income, but by the choices you make.